Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cosmic Crusade podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I hope you've missed this. We had a little break, a little moment in time, but we're back. You know, we always got to come back to it, baby. The passion project. Yes, we love to see it. We love to be here, and I love to yap to you. Okay, so let's dive into this week's episode. Get comfy, get cozy, get ready to talk about the mystic, the cryptic, and all the wonderful weird shit in between, okay? Because we have wonderful things to talk about. Let's dive right on in with a high, low, water buffalo, okay? Now I'm gonna hit you straight off with that low work. Of course. It's just been busy, it's just been stressful, it's just been like 2 of us, 3 of us making do with what we can do. Not much going on from the crew, you know, like we're trying to do what we can do, but there's like nobody, and there's 5 billion customers, so that was really bad. And then I vaped, picked up vaping again. That's foul, that's evil, that's disgusting, ew, don't do it, can't recommend it, terrible cycles, terrible habits. I'm done now, I'm free of it for now. But that's the thing with vaping, is just, it's, I can always go, like, a good while, but I find myself back to it, and that's my issue. I've had cigs here and there, but in my mind, at least it's a little bit better than if I were to be just, like, huffing and puffing the vapes all day, every day, for, you know, forever on end. You know, at least we do have these stopping points where we can, like, recover our lungs and let our body restore itself a little bit, maybe, hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, because lung cancer ain't looking cute. I'm not trying to have that happen. You know, I'm already besties with Mary J, and I'm not trying to let her go, so, sorry, vape. Kick it to the curb. Also, it's just, it's a bad addiction because she has more nicotine than, like, cigarettes. Like, she's stronger than a cigarette, so she's more addictive. So it's easier to get into those cycles, and a lot harder to get out of those cycles. So right now I'm in an out era. We love being in the out eras, we really do. Because every time I go back to vaping, here's the sitch, right? Every time I go back to vaping, it's just not it, okay? It's never really fulfilling in the ways I want it to be fulfilling. You know, I'm thinking back to my first time hitting a vape, my first era of vaping and having it, like, with actual nicotine. Like, wow, that really did something for me. Like, I really would feel something. But it never hits the same as that first hit feeling. You'll never have a feeling hit quite the same as that first hit feeling. But, like, listen, it's the cherry lemon breeze. She does something to me. She makes me feral, okay? Like, actually, that flavor, I cannot. Like, it's insane. My love, my commitment to vaping, not real, not there. But that flavor, oh, wow. They be doing something with that one, I tell you what. But it's a problem. It's an issue, but I am being better about it now. It's an issue, it's foul, it's vile, it's disgusting. I'm doing better with it now. The last time I was done with vaping for like 3 or 4 months, it was really good. I was doing really good. So it kind of sucks to like backtrack in a sense, you know, backtrack and like lose that progress, but it's also validating because I know I can do it again. Like, I know it's literally no problem. Like, it'll be gone. Like, I won't care about it in like 2 days. Like, whatever. It's fine. I'm not. That's the tea. It's fine, I'm not. That's the thing that causes, you know, these relapse moments where we are returning and we're going back to the old habits, is we're having these negative feelings, we're having these negative emotions and these major stressors, and we just want that instant relief. We just want something to get rid of it. Make it go away. Well, the answer is working at somewhere else. The answer is getting a new job, changing the environment of your life, and uplifting that. So yeah, that's my low. This whole fucking yap sesh has been my low about vaping. Vape has been the low. She's come back into life, and we don't like her when she's there, you know, discussing foul at you. Why are you wasting your money on that? You're wasting your money to suck on a flavored USB port. Get real. Get so for real, please. Okay. Water buffalo. I don't really know. I managed my budget so well last month. Budgeting isn't something that I really struggle with, I would say. It's just sometimes I'm more mindful about it than others. But this past month, we were really mindful, and we were like within a single dollar of our budget for groceries that month. You know, we were doing really good. We were doing really good. We were mindful about what we were spending. We weren't overspending. And I really enjoyed that. Tickles like an interesting part of my brain, you know, having the finances in order and like managing the money well and like keeping everything nice, neat, and my ducks are all in a little row and everything is going well. And we're row our boat merrily down the stream. Peace, life, love, zen. That's what we want to be happening, and that's what it feels like when the finances are in order. That is what it feels like. It feels like I'm breathing. It feels like everything's good. The money is taking care of itself. You watch the pennies, the dollars will watch themselves, okay? And then for the high, I can't just pick like one thing, so I'm gonna do an overarching thing, which is like going out. My high recently has been going out, okay? I met Anya Nerve, okay? That was insane. That was such a surreal experience. It's always interesting to me to like, I don't know, be a viewer, you know, like sitting at home and watching somebody on the TV, but then actually going and seeing them in real life and like picking up on their energy and feeling their vibes as a person. Same thing is true because we met Trisha Paytas. Yes, okay, so same thing with her. It's like, that one more so because Anya, I've only been watching like more recently within this past year or so. But Trisha, you know, she was like in the old YouTube days and then like still bits and pieces of her here and there. I never really like kept up with her, like consistently keep up with her because I'm bad. I am bad at that for anyone or anything. But Trisha Paytas has always just kind of been that internet personality, you know? So like I've always seen her. And it was very interesting to see her in real life because Mama's is short. Mama's is short. Like, obviously I'm tall, so, like, that's a thing. Everybody is going to be short to me, but, like, she was just short. But I loved her. I loved Anya. Those were really great times. And then I went out and I just had a little dinner moment with my friends, and we had Italian, and oh my god, an Italian dinner, it'll make you better, okay? Throw some feta, make you better. It is divinity. I love it. I love little breadsticks, little garlic bread, little salad moment. Yes, okay, have a little wine, a little Chardonnay, okay. So, really have been going out and about and doing all these wonderful, fun, different things, and I think it's been making my life wonderful, you know? There's always going to be those moments where it's just like, ew, disgusting, bad, we're in a rough time, we're kind of stressed, we're fighting for our lives, but then, you know, you have those moments where it's like, I'm just so busy this week, I have something going on every single day, there's something happening, oh my gosh, but it's those types of weeks where it's like busy, go, that kind of are the fun ones, you know? It's a fun time to be doing things, and like, especially when it's, in my instance, when you're doing something that you're excited about, right? Like, you have all these events upcoming, but it's fun. It's engaging, it's exciting, you know? It sparks joy. We love to do things that spark joy. Yes. And then also, this week in particular just kind of worked out really well because of the flow of it. I switched my schedule for work, so I worked Sunday through Thursday and then had Friday, Saturday off. Oh, wow. I have not had back-to-back days off in a long time, okay? Having a Friday, Saturday off, wow. 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 Yesterday, I just did so much. I was just doing something pretty much the entire day just to keep the body moving, just to keep busy. You know, I did some deep cleaning. I cleaned up the kitchen. I cleaned off the stovetop. I wiped down in the microwave. I cleaned off all the countertops. I took all the rugs and all that shit out of the kitchen and I swept. I mopped. I vacuumed the house. Like, it was just like, you know, one of those days where like you just see something and then you start doing, you know, like I saw like, oh, well, table's a little cluttered. We need to put these towels away. And then it just snowballed into a cleaning day. And I loved that for me because then today I just did nothing. I just relaxed. I was at peace. I did yoga. I did a little 40-minute yoga flow. It was like more so Pilates, but you know, moving the body, tending and stretching for 40 minutes. And then I was playing video games for a while. I was watching the new Love on the Spectrum because Netflix just dropped the 3rd season, which also Netflix, be so for real, you're a scam, okay? You're a capitalist scam and you are just money hungry, you pigs. Like, please stop. Why are the household things real? Okay, why do you have to have the household updates? Because I just bought Netflix. Hello, I just bought Netflix. Netflix was like the very first thing that you ever mooched off of somebody with. Yeah, like Netflix was like very, okay, I'm gonna share this with everybody, whoever bought it. Now I have to buy it because I moved and like I'm not in the same household. I have to buy my own account. Interesting. Interesting. Real cute. Real cute. And then they tell you like, oh, it's $7.99. But that's just for like low quality with ads. You know, nobody wants ads. So I bought Netflix, the premium edition, so I can not have ads to watch Love on the Spectrum season 3, and it has been amazing. I love that show. It's always so interesting for me to be able to see other perspectives. Like, I just appreciate that on a very human level, point blank period. Like, how everybody's different and how different people have different approaches and how they have different preferences and what they like to do within their lives. And like seeing that through a show such as Love on the Spectrum, oh wow, that tickles my brain. That tickles my brain because something for me that would be like, I could never imagine myself doing that. I really don't prefer that, is something that like somebody else really wants to do and that's their niche, that's their thing, whatever. It's so interesting. It's, I don't know, kind of like tickling the philosophical aspect of my brain. I love seeing like the joy that comes to all of the cast members on the show. And I love seeing their journey and like their stories and like seeing them go on different dates and like even seeing the learning process of like, sometimes they'll speak with like an expert to get like dating advice or like just asking general questions about existing with autism. And it's just so interesting because like I'm learning as well, you know, like I'm seeing the show and like I'm understanding what is happening for them in like their day-to-day lives and like how they're experiencing life on a daily basis and what they're going through, you know? So a very interesting show. I've been loving that. But yeah, so that's been me. That's been my life. Let's go ahead and let's just dive on into this week's episode. This week I really am just spitballing. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm just spitballing. I did not plan this one. We're just coming in real. We're just coming in raw. We're just gonna be authentic and genuine. And I'm gonna talk about eras because that was the theme of Trisha Paytas's tour. She did an eras tour. Yeah, it's just like tailored eras tour. So I kind of want to talk about eras. And you know what? I think currently, for me, I'm in a selfish era. I am in a very selfish era. My life right now and my top priority and my life's purpose right now is to have balance. I want my yin and I want my yang, okay? I want my peace and I want my burdens, you know? Like, I just want to exist in a space that I feel is comfortable for myself. And, you know, sometimes that looks like being selfish, but also I think we always, well, most of the time anyways, associate this sort of negative connotation with being selfish. And when we're talking about being selfish, it gets kind of that negative connotation, but I don't believe that it needs to be that way, okay? Because you need to be selfish, okay? You need to have self-care, you need to be speaking up for yourself, and you need to be communicating for yourself, and like, you need to be communicating your needs, your wants, your desires. Those are all very selfish things, and it's good, okay? It's beautiful. You should be selfish. And I feel like that's kind of the era that I'm in right now, and that feels very appropriate for me. you know, because I feel like the 20s is a really good time to kind of figure out life and sort of figure out what you want to do, who you want to be, where you want to go, what dreams you're having, you know, and just kind of be selfish. I think that's the time, you know, it feels very right. It feels very appropriate for this to be happening right now. And like, I don't think that I've really been selfish in like, you know, a slighting somebody type of way. I fear I've just been selfish in a way that is very self-centered. Yeah, self-centered. I'm thinking of how I can care for myself. I'm thinking of ways that I can give back to myself. You know, no, I don't want to go out. No, I don't want to come in and pick up an extra shift. I just need some recharge time. That, I would say, that was nearly my previous era, was recharge, because I think coming out of the winter and into the spring, it's almost a transition within the self personally as well, because it's going from I'm very isolated, I'm very chill, I'm very unbothered, into going back to like going outside. Not really, but like, you know, like going out and doing things and like being surrounded by people and going to events and sharing spaces and going to parties and hanging out and like whatever. It takes like a little transitionary period for me. So I think my previous era was a recharge era, and that has now evolved and transformed into the selfish era. And, you know, I think it's just very important for everybody to be able to speak their minds. And that is something that I strive to foster as well. You know, within those around me, my community, like, I want everybody to be able to feel comfortable with spilling the tea. Tell me how it is. Give it to me straight, right? Like, don't feel like you have to sugarcoat things to, like, try to protect my feelings or anything in that nature. I just feel like, you know, if something isn't happening in the way that you prefer, let me know. But my issue also within that same realm is that I'm indecisive. I'm not extremely indecisive. Like, I can make a decision, and I probably do, like, have a preference, but I'm just very agreeable and very much so, like, innately a people pleaser. So it's also that energy that I'm trying to step out of, because, like, at the end of the day, the only person I should be trying to please is myself. Yeah, like, that is the energy you should be having as well. Like, we all need to look out for number one, which is ourselves, but we can do it in a way that is kind, that is pleasant to be around. But, you know, we gotta look out for ourselves. We gotta do things that are within our own best interest type of thing, yeah? I think probably, if I had to say my worst era, I don't know. My worst era would probably have to be, like, middle school. And I feel like that's pretty on brand. I feel like that's on point. Like, most people would agree with the fact that, like, who you were in middle school is not who you prefer to be. It's not, like, an accurate representation of you. But middle school for me was just a really crazy time. A really, really cuckoo caca choo choo time. Okay? Because picture it. Ohio. 2010. You little gay boy. You in the middle of a bumfuck nowhere with nothing but Amish and cornfields and rats around you. Honey, that was not the time. That was not the era to be exploring. You know, I did, and I'm grateful that I did. And I did many different types of exploration through gender and sexuality and, like, representation of myself. But, you know, it was just such a wild time. And it really, I had the mindset of labels. Yeah, you know, I really had the mindset of, like, okay, well, I need to let everyone know, and I need to, like, solidly confirm that, yeah, I'm straight. But wait, I'm bi. But wait, I'm trans. But no, I'm straight. Actually, I'm gay. But, what if we were gender fluid? And, you know, I think I was kind of feeling a pressure that was just like, you have to have, like, a decision. You have to align, and you have to, like, fit within a box, and you have to be this label, and you have to act this way, and you should say these things, and you should listen to this music, and you should dress this way. And like, it's so crazy that that was an era that I actually put a lot of like time and energy and stress and like influence into, because it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter, okay? I'm gonna like who I like. I'm gonna vibe with who I like. I'm gonna identify with whatever I identify with. And you will do the same. Okay, great. We are specks of dust on a rock floating through space. Like, it is never that deep, okay? Everything is valid, etc., etc., things of that nature, but it doesn't matter. It's not that deep. The amount of pressure that I was putting on myself to, be perfection, gave myself a little bit of perfectionist trauma, I will say. But I'm glad I went through it, and I'm grateful, and I hold space for those experiences, but it's like, I couldn't imagine, like, in my now life, changing my identity every other week, like, wow. It doesn't matter who you like. It doesn't matter if you call me a girl, a boy, an it, a they, a queen, like, whatever. We're just living life, and that's it. I'm Jay, you're they, and whatever. We slay, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like that. And I would say probably, looking back, my best era, honestly, senior year of high school was probably a fond era that I like to look back upon, because it was a congenial era for me. I'm patching up old wounds with people that like I had fights with. We had friendship breakups, we had arguments, whatever. We're putting bandages on the wounds, and we're moving forward. And I was also kind of breaking out of my shell at that point a bit, which is crazy because what a late time. But as an introvert with anxiety, I think that was good for me. I just really got to a point where I was used to everybody. It was a small town, small school. We all knew each other, and it was like, I'm gonna do my thing, you're gonna do your thing. If we don't vibe, whatever. But like, also, I'm not gonna be like afraid to talk to anybody anymore. Like, if we're forced to pair up and group up and work together, then so be it. I'm living my life. And at that point, I had just started working at Starbucks. I was earning my little beans, roasting my coffee beans, living my best barista life, still full of hopes and dreams and fantasies. That was a really fond era. And also, honorable mention to my cooking era. And I don't think that we ever really left the cooking era per se, but I'm just thinking back particularly to like the COVID times, yeah, because that was kind of when I started to get experimental. That's when I started to try and like make things homemade and fresh, and not just, well, let's go on up to Walmart and get some Hot Pockets and we can have that for dinner. Baby, no. Baby, no. You have to cook it fresh at home. You have to roll out the dough with your own 2 hands. Make the dough. Cheap and easy. Delicious. Time consuming, but worth it. Every single time. And you know what? Look at your labels. Look at your packaging. Look at the nutrition information and check, because does it say that it is a bioengineered food product? A lot of them do. A lot of them do. It's scary. It's weird. It's obvious they're poisoning our food, our water, our air, our everything. So I am really appreciative and grateful that I had that inspiration in that cooking era where I was like making things fresh, and I kind of like kickstarted that for my adult life. I was just so inspired. I always, like from a very young age, enjoyed like watching cooking shows and things of that nature. So starting that out and like actually having the time and space in COVID, to where now I don't have as much time and space for all of those things, but I still do commit myself to, Whole Foods and making things pretty fresh if I can. you know, I'm not above buying a pre-made dough here and there, or like buying a sauce here and there. For the most part, I prefer to make things, but you know, sometimes the budget doesn't allow it, sometimes the brain space doesn't allow it, and sometimes the time doesn't allow it. We can't be perfect all of the time, but I do like to be very conscious in terms of like what I'm consuming and what I'm making. And I did a lot of research in the COVID era, my COVID cooking era, and I got pretty experimental and I got to branch out and I tried things. I know I made like homemade noodles for like pasta, fettuccine, things like that. I made sushi. I was making all kinds of like waffles and pancakes, you know, like more basic things, but I really am appreciative for the cooking era because like I still enjoy cooking. That's one of my passions. I love to cook and I love to whip up new meals. And you know what? Especially as a smoker, you know, you have a little toke and then your brain just gets all creative and you say, "Ooh, a dash of this, a dash of that, a dash of this." And sometimes you're like, "Oh, wow, this is absolutely amazing. I'm writing this down. I'm keeping this forever." Other times you're like, "Oh shit, I am really high." And I'm grateful because that is the only way I can even imagine eating this. But you know, you live and you learn, and that's through trials and tribulations of lived experiences, and that's just kind of what keeps us going, you know? That's what propels us forward. So, yeah, very grateful for the cooking era. If you guys have any memorable areas, feel free to drop that comment below. Tell me what your favorite eras were, what your most embarrassing eras were. Oh my god. I don't know what it was with the winter time and me getting on the bus, speaking of embarrassment, but every single year with school, I would have at least one slip up onto the bus every winter season. Okay, I'm talking like I have to cross the street to get on to board the bus. And from my driveway through the road onto the bus, at some point every winter while I was riding that bus, I would slip and I would fall. It was inevitable. It was inevitable. I vividly remember doing it as I was like getting to the steps of the bus and like falling into the bus. Like, oh, that was a bad one. That was really a bad one. I also have to have an honorable mention for my music era. I really did for quite a long time think myself a music teacher. I thought I was going to be a music teacher. Also, like having those career aspirations and like all of the different ideas and dreams and goals that I had for jobs that I wanted to do and like see where I've actually gone is crazy. It's really strange. I love music though. I wanted to be a music teacher for a while and I'm grateful for that as well because that paired really well with my Aries moon. Now the Aries moon energy is very impatient. It's very impulsive. It's very I need it, I want it, I should have it. Boom, 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 now. And so I got to like kind of release that energy through music. I like throughout middle school and high school, I very much so played many different instruments. I was in band, I was in choir, and in addition to that, I would just like go on Amazon and order new instruments. I was like, tambourine, need it. Bongos, need it. Drum set, need it. Piano, need it. Fucking ukulele, need it. Banjo, need it. Like, you know, like I just, ocarina, need it. Right? Like I just had so many different musical instruments that I would get my impulses out through. And so shout out for my music era because there were so many that I tried to pick up, that I tried to learn. And I'm grateful because it taught me that I'm never going to play guitar. If you play guitar, props to you. You deserve your flowers. I cannot play guitar. I don't have, well, any more of the brain space for it. But like this, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a challenge. And I just don't have the time or the will to do it. Piano, I will say, is the one tried and true that has always stuck through for me. And I still, to this day, play piano. I'm not great at it, but I do love to just, you know, once a week, sit down and play a little tune. Ballad of the Witch's Road has been my go-to. My go-to. That's definitely the one I'm trying to learn right now. I haven't been giving much time into it, but yeah, dude, Agatha all along. Yeah. Yeah. She did that. She did that, and what was it? She ate. She absolutely ate. Devoured, demolished, no problems. Overall, it's very interesting, and I mean still from this young age, to be able to, like, look back on life and, like, see it through these different eras. And, you know, I think it's kind of important for us to stop and smell the roses a little bit, you know, in the sense of, like, okay, let's have a breather moment, let's relax, and, like, let's flip through the memory books, let's flip through the scrapbooks, let's flip through the camera roll, slide through the snap memories, you know, just, like, having these moments where we're kind of reflecting on our past eras and, like, what we've done within our life and our past, you know, it's important because we have done so many wonderful things and we have experienced so many different things in our lives, you know. I have many a car crashes that I have documented on my phone that I prefer not to look at. But sometimes I do, you know, sometimes I find it, sometimes it pops up in my memories and it's like, wow, I'm not there anymore. Like, thank God, like, I am not stuck on the side of the road murdering a Bambi. Like, it's in the past. If you know me, you know my Bambi lore. It's bad. They're, like, attracted to my vehicles, unfortunately. But, you know, that's all said and done and in the past and not my reality anymore. And nor will it be my reality ever again. I don't claim it. But, that being said, I really do appreciate the opportunity to kind of reflect and talk about eras a little bit, you know, with all of this era energy going around, the aura of the eras. It's important to be able to look back and to reflect, and, you know, I think that's something I'm so grateful for, and I think that's something that I'm working on too, is gratitude and being grateful. I really want to get back into journaling. I think this past month has been a little bit, I think March was kind of rough. March was a real hardship and challenge. If you don't know, we went through a Mercury and Venus retrograde, both at the same time. Planet of communication, planet of love and relationships. Oh, ew, foul. It's been evil. It means, like, communications aren't coming through clearly. There's challenges. You know, you're seeing your past being brought up. You're seeing people from your past, and it's like, whoa. So, you know, in honor of Venus and Mercury, we had to talk about some eras today. I will say that. But, you know, I think that's all I really have to say on eras and, you know, existing. I think the 2025 era is the best era yet because I believe that I am ever evolving and ever changing as a human being. And I am really grateful to be here making this video, filming this podcast, getting this energy out into the world, and I so look forward to the next episode, and I'm grateful, and I'm so excited to be back into this, you know, had a little time away, and I'm very excited to be back and to be making videos again, and I'm already brainstorming what our next video is going to be, so I'm very excited for you to be there with me. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have enjoyed. Please don't forget to do your big one. Give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe. And until next time, peace and love. Bye.